Hey there, everybody. Good to be back here at the table with you all on this Monday, the 20th, while we are going through some interesting energetic changes. I know many of you are familiar with or are hearing about the Barbalt's basket. Astrologically, all the planets that are shifting. I'm learning more and more about it as well. I'm not an astrologer, but I certainly am learning more about it as it relates to tarot, as it relates to all of us being impacted by the cosmos and astrological changes. This week, we are told in particular that there's so much happening, and we've seen a lot of it. This weekend was really interesting. Not just yesterday, the Spain's win over Argentina. I know it was like Spain was all of us, right? Spain was all of us who believe in diversity and democracy and all of it. So it happened despite, some of the best efforts to derail it. The favor for Argentina did not go through. The the clown show of Trump showing up to, it didn't go his way to present the awards and the medals, all of that. But on a more serious note, and what my spirit guides and ancestors have given me to sit down with you all today, heads up. This regime appears to be headed in the direction of creating a serious all-out public health crisis, you all. And you know me, I've got my notes here, done some research, gonna back that up. So in the wake of what's happened with the cyclospora parasite situation, which we all know by now been narrowed down to Taylor Farms, but also the struggles that have been had around tracking it because of through Elon Musk, the Doge cuts to the CDC, almost 30% down in their workforce, we understand. So the people who could track it, who could help the public understand what the heck was going on, where it is, how to avoid it, that's part of why there was this struggle, and not to mention the detection of it in general, right? Our food safety. So that's part one. Cuts Doge made last year to the CDC. Now we hear that the OMB's Russell Vogt has put forth a proposal that's expected to just sail right through, where up to $1 trillion in cuts are being put for all federal grants related to the public health. So that's research universities, that's nonprofits, that's any entities that receive federal money to improve or have oversight or somehow help the public health. These grant monies are being stripped and taken off the table, including existing grants. There was a story today, I think it was the New York Times or the Guardian, where professors at health professionals at Harvard, existing grants, were notified that $1 million that was already on the table, existing grant, was being snatched back. Now that aspect of it is being challenged in the courts. Okay, that's not existing grant money that could be awarded. But also what's dangerous about this Russell Vogt proposal from the OMB is they are saying all federal grants now would have to be approved by a Trump appointee. What does that tell you? Now, connecting dots, y'all. Connecting dots, or trying my best. Advances of the war, U.S. Treasury is running out of money, right? We were told before the war started, before he agreed to go launch out this offensive with Israel, that money for equipment, for missiles, etc., was going to run out really, really fast. And that is happening as we see that war advancing. Here's where I'm ready to go in. Are they deliberately going to they've already taken money out of regular health care, Obamacare, etc. They've already sucked a lot of that money out of there. Where else is the money to come from? Spirit, is this money being diverted by the OMB for healthcare, for public healthcare? Is this money being directed to the war in Iran? And I also just heard his vanity projects, the ballroom, up to 600 million now, we're told, and counting. The other projects, now the Qatari jet is being super maxed, we're told, for security to make it more secure. Is this money being taken and redirected to pay for these vanity projects and the war, Spirit? Is public health being put deliberately at risk? Four Pentacles, the money being run out by the Hierophant, the government. This is always my card representing government. So the government feeling pinched financially to continue. Like at a certain point, where does this money continue to come from? Spirit. This OMB edict, Ten of Pentacles, it is all about taking the money from the public health sector to pay for these projects. Spirit will, and we're not hearing a lot about that, right? We're hearing so much around the war itself, around other issues, around the midterms, the struggle for Democrats to figure out what the heck their line of advance is going to be in platforms with progressives versus elites, all of it that we've been talking about and you all well know. Spirit, is there, and Spirit just reminded me. So these cuts, the proposal from Russell Vought from the OMB on $1 trillion in cuts in federal grants is supposed to take effect October 1st, go into effect October 1st for fiscal year 27. Spirit, will there be a stop to this from Congress? Will there be a stop to this? The Empress, thank you, God. Thank you. There's going to be a stop to it. The Divine Feminine, which I started this out with the barbell basket. They're saying that there's, I saw some things on social media that this is starting out relating to energies around the goddess Isis, and that the barbell basket concludes, I think, around July 26th, which is somehow tied to a festival or feast day for Mary Magdalene. That's just a side note, but just, again, reinforcing the Empress and the Divine Feminine energy that's coming into play here that Spirit has been talking about for a while now. The people are not going to continue to suffer. This is literally, and I don't want to get emotional, that impacts my readings. This literally gets people sick, just as we've seen with the parasite situation. The Four of Swords, clarity being brought to this, and justice. Spirit's on it. The divine is on it. Clarity and exposure. Because did you even hear about this? This situation with Russell Vought pushing through this measure to cut all federal funding, all of it, existing and potential funding, up to $1 trillion. Where? Who's been talking about it? Right? Justice. Now, is Russell Vought gonna get prosecuted? This is crimes against humanity. This is literally crimes against humanity. King of Cups. Is that him? Is that Vought? Is that Russell Vought? The Lovers. It is in cahoots with Trump. So this is him being brought to justice. Spirit, is this Russell Vought being brought to justice? Queen of Wands. Somebody's going after him. And Judgment. I need to use this deck more often. This is the Surrealist Tarot. I felt like, talk about surreal stuff happening with us, right? Surrealist Tarot. Yeah, there's someone who's going to go after Vought in a big, big way. And I think this is going to happen next year, right? When things turn over and we have a different, the House, certainly, the Senate, let's do what the people did around Spain versus Argentina, right? It was like a global collective. I mean, really, Spain was all of us. The Three of Cups, celebration. I crossed that Judgment card. This is the celebration that comes among the people, the growth among the people, the whole going back to the astrology of this moment and what's happening with the planets in this moment and the new age of people responding to things on a collective basis, on a collaborative basis versus all of the polarization that's been promoted by not just Trump in this regime, but what's happened even with the far right, globally. This is going to come together. People are going to come together, and the proposals like this OMB proposal to strip away everything that puts the public health at risk. This is environmental. This is actual, not just research and science. This is actual programs targeted to keep people healthy, to provide services and education, to get the word out, to prevention, all of it. They're just like, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We'll watch Americans fall off a cliff with their health in jeopardy because we want to go outfit a jet and we want to build a ballroom and we want to do other vanity projects. Judgment, justice, the Empress, the Hierophant. I'm waiting on the Tower. That's really Spirit. Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Nine of Pentacles. Two just came. The High Priestess, the Page of Pentacles, and the Magician. Didn't get the Tower, but this feels like further confirmation, you all. The Magician, the creation of a new regime. And by the people, for the people, people's public health, and the High Priestess, secrets being revealed, knowledge coming forward, people understanding that what has been hidden is now being revealed in real time. And Page of Pentacles, it's not a slow build up so much as a with Pentacles, it's spirit energy can be very methodical. It is piece by piece. You often hear me talk about connecting the dots, right? That's the former reporter in me, like make it make sense, right? That's what's happening in this Page of Pentacles energy, you all. It's also a rebuilding because so much of the dismantling, going back to the Doge cuts, going back to Elon Musk coming in and with Doge at the beginning of this regime, all of this has to be rebuilt. That's why we're seeing the Page of Pentacles. But it will be. And I think there's death. Because there's an anger. This goes way beyond inflation and affordability. This is literally, you are willing to sit back and watch people transition, death, to take the money. All right. Second thing I was led to look at today is talking about the war in Iran and the escalation, right? So the strikes are only going to go so far. At a certain point, Trump is going to start looking at boots on the ground. Keg's breath is going to be all about it. But we also are hearing that Iran's part of Iran's strategy is to strike U.S. military bases in Middle Eastern areas like Kuwait, like Bahrain, all of these other places like, Syria, and other places where, so what I'm asking is, what I'm getting from the guides is these Middle Eastern places are going to be, these Middle Eastern countries are going to be like, whoa, this was never our situation to begin with. You want us to sit here and be under fire and encounter all of this, blowback from Iran because of you, and you want your people here? Spirit, are we going to see these places in around the Middle East start to balk and reject the U.S. presence there? Are we going to start to see them push back against Trump and the Pentagon because they're taking fire? And then the U.S. troops, where are they going to go? Where are the bases going to be? Ooh. The Eight of Swords, that and the Strength card. I never ignore Major Arcana, even if it's at the bottom of the deck. So there's worry about the ability to support. Strength is a smaller thing, very often surrounded by a bigger thing. So to the extent that Middle Eastern nations are in cahoots or tied to diplomatically or otherwise the US, the bigger thing, the Eight of Swords is they're paying the cost for that, and they realize that. Will they begin to resist this administration? Will they say we can't take this on? Seven of Swords, they're being deceived. The US will continue to try and deceive them to say, hang in here with us, we'll look out for you if you hang in here with us. The Star, looking out for their people, and the Eight of Cups, exactly. At a certain point, Eight of Cups, many of you who are familiar with tarot, it is about it. I can't do this. I'm going to walk away from it. And the Star shows that as well. But the Star very often is, it takes a little time. It is projecting onto something that will take a little time. So they're going to get fed up. These Middle Eastern nations are going to get fed up. Seven of Swords or no Seven of Swords. You can talk that talk and make your empty promises all you want. But we're looking at our country literally having under attack because of our affiliation with you. So that means the Page of Cups, they got to try and figure, oh, that's the delay. They're like, okay, we hear you, but let us figure out where our troops need to be. We got to have some place for them to be. The Two of Swords, again, decisions about where do we even go? What do we do? And the Nine of Cups, the desire to have continued support for the U.S. military presence in the Middle East. But the Ace of Pentacles comes, Spirit, and yes, that's my card for a Spirit saying, yes, we're on the right track. This is a slower process. Again, we're in that Pentacles energy. This is a slower process, but the desire is going to be for these Middle Eastern nations. I think we're going to see more Spirit's like saying they're talking amongst one another. They all realize, hey, this is not even our thing. Why are we, and we're drawn into this by virtue of our alliance with the US. That's what's coming. That's the bow that's going to break, you all. That's the bow that's going to break. So therefore, the US has to find a way. We saw some talk today about Marco Rubio trying to get back in the mix with negotiations. Spirit, are there going to be actual negotiations, not just BS talk? Two of Pentacles, I like that. Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. Yes, there's going to be a concerted effort to ramp up talks of ceasing the war, not just these memorandums of understanding or memoranda of understanding, etc. This is more definitive. This is more, it's more substantive. Again, coming in Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles. Is that Rubio? Oh, two cards came. Seven of Wands and the Four of Cups. Rubio doesn't want this, he so does not want to have to be in the midst of this, but he's up at bat. We see JD Vance, what happened there when he tried to go over and negotiate, and the Seven of Wands, a push to continue to do it. So this is Rubio's directive. He's going to have to figure out a way to reopen dialogue and step up and do the job that JD Vance was set up to fail to do. And the Wheel of Fortune. Yes. Thank you again, Spirit. Thank you for the clarity today in the cards. But it's a timing issue. And there's a price to pay. The Wheel of Fortune comes with an element of karma and destiny and fate. it's sort of you reap what you sow kind of energy. I'm getting that part of this is setting in motion the downfall of, I mean, all of these players are going to go down, but the downfall of Rubio in particular, because JD Vance already went through his embarrassing experience by when they sent him over there for nothing, for negotiations. So now it's the wheel of fortune around Marco Rubio, and Spirit is confirming that. I just got the Ace of Wands. So he's going to hang his hat, Rubio, on whatever these pending talks will be to try and stop the war. But because he's under Trump's boot, his authority and his ability to effectuate that is going to be really under question. And I think this is going to come down to, it's an economic concern, going back to our lead-in reading today around all of this money, federal grant money being now yanked to continue to pay for this war. And the Pentagon, as well as other things. But this is also decimating, is the word Spirit just gave me. It is really completely decimating any of Rubio's hopes at redemption within the Republican Party. Done and doner. All right, you all. It was a lot. It is a lot. But all of it, like y'all saw those cards, all of this, the divine feminine, sky above us, earth beneath us, causing us to keep those chins up and our shoulders back and continue to lead with our hearts. Man, did we see that happen yesterday in that World Cup game. Man, did we see that. More of that, y'all. More of that and more. All right? I'll talk to you a little bit later. Bye.